Hello and welcome back to Misrepresented. I'm your host, Lisa Opie, and I'm so excited because I have one of my very longtime friends, Dominique Shim,
Yes,
with me today. Hi, how are ya?
I am great. How are you?
Good.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I haven't seen you in forever, and I always love our
Literally.
visits.
I
love when I
know.
get to see you, whether it's this or casual. Like I love seeing you guys.
I don't know how it started. We were like talking on Instagram back and forth, and you were like, we need to catch up, and I was like, yeah, but can we do it in a podcast?
Yeah, I mean, like our conversations are always like very neutral, and like I think it's something that everybody can relate to.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, why not? Like,
And
of
I
course.
feel like it's like also educational.
Oh yeah, especially with all the experiences that we go through as women.
I know. Should we start at the very beginning, how we met?
Yes, I think that's a great story.
Oh my gosh.
Super funny. Do you want to tell or me?
I want you to tell it.
Okay, so Lisa and I have known each other for maybe like 8 or 9 years. I think it was back in 2016 that we met.
That's
it was
crazy.
right around that time. It doesn't feel that long.
No.
It definitely doesn't feel that long.
No.
I was in like my early 20s, like early 20s.
God,
yeah, it was crazy.
It was like before my nose job.
We don't talk about those.
Right.
So we had both been called to do an influencer trip for the SLS Baja Mar in the Bahamas. It was like their grand opening year, and they had invited influencers to come over. And so we went, and I was nervous about it because I was still new into influencing, and I'd never traveled outside of the country, especially by myself.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like I'd done a lot of like local stuff or like in the country stuff. Like I'd been to New York and stuff, but I'd never been outside of the country. Like, here's your passport. Like, if you lose your passport, you're stuck here. Like, I was freaking out.
Wait, so how did they reach out to you?
So someone reached out to me through DM, and then then they turned around and they sent me an email with all of the information, because I was like, okay, I'm not gonna like respond to a random DM that looks super sketch. And then they sent me everything, and they sent me all the photographers that would be there. They sent me the GM's information to like confirm that this was happening and stuff like that. So it made me feel a lot more comfortable about going. And then they were like, hey, like, this is your trip, this is what's happening, like all we need is your passport number, you show up, and like it is what it is, we'll take care of everything else. And I was like, awesome, who doesn't want a free trip to the Bahamas? Let's go. So when we got there, I think the first day, like all the girls kind of like rolled in little by little, because we were all from all over the place. So we had girls from Miami, we had girls from other places, and everybody kind of like met by the pool, and it was like a fun first night. Like everybody got to know each other, like a little mingle thing. And then the rest of the time was just like showing different parts of the hotel, the restaurants, the pools, the amenities, and everything. It was
amazing. I love like influencer trips, because it's not like you're shooting a commercial, because I think we've both shot like resort commercials before, where it's like you're in hair and makeup and then you go shoot here and you don't get to enjoy anything. But with influencer trips, it's like you enjoy everything, and then they're shooting you doing that, so you just get to live your life.
So I had actually done one prior hotel shoot, which was for the Hilton Resort World in Bimini.
Oh my gosh,
it was super fun. And the way I did it was super funny, because I'd met somebody playing volleyball on the beach, and they ended up being the director of marketing for Hilton. And messaged me. It was like, hey, like, I love your vibe, I love the way you look, I know, like, I saw that you're a model, like, we need a model for this shoot, like, if we pay for your whole trip and somebody else to come, and then obviously compensation, they were like, would you come? And I'm like, yes. But that was like a very much more like structured shoot, like you said, like hair and makeup, you have to go, you have to do certain things,
and then like you have to look like you're having fun and not actually have fun. It's like, okay, and then take it 30 more times, like smile with the drink.
It's my favorite thing to hear a photographer or a videographer say is one more. Just one more. And I'm like I was like, 100 more it is.
And if you've shot with Franz, you know there's gonna be 100 more.
But when I shoot with Franz, I always know there's gonna be a amazing picture, like an absolutely phenomenal picture that I'm like, this belongs on a billboard. And I have seen your stuff on Times Square, and it 100% belongs there.
And it's worth the one more, because I feel like those one more shots are worth it, because he's like getting there.
Yeah, and he tells you exactly what it is that you need to do. Like, hey, like you need to brighten up your face, or relax your shoulders, or turn your chin down. Yeah, he's like, get rid of that double chin, like.
He'll tell you. He does
100%. So yeah, the one in the Baja Mar was much more relaxed. I felt more like I could be myself. Most of the girls, I will say most of the girls, because not all of the girls, but most of the girls were very easy to get along with, like you and some of the other people. And then there were some that I was like, okay, like I don't vibe with you as well as I do with other people, and that's okay. Not everybody's vibe is the same. But it was definitely a super fun trip. There was only one, as I'm sure you remember, fun part of the trip that I was like, I could have skipped this easily.
What a traumatic like thing. Was it me, you, and Emily?
It was me, you, and Emily, and they had asked us, they were like, hey, like, because we were shooting on the yacht that day, because they were doing yacht tours and stuff like that. So they were like, hey, like, we have this sports boat. It was like a cigarette boat. And they were like, we're going to go take photos on one of the islands that are nearby, because they have like a whole bunch of like tiny islands near the hotel, if you remember. And we were like, yeah, sure, let's go. And then I don't know who gave the captain a license, or if he was even
was
supposed
he a
to
captain?
be
That's
or if
my
he
question.
even was a captain. He said he was.
Because like you and Emily were more of a captain than this guy was.
I had been on a lot of boats, and I'd never seen somebody drive a boat the way that he did, so it was really interesting. And then the biggest thing was when he docked the boat on the island.
It just went.
He just like rode up on the thing, and I was like, there's an anchor. And he was like, oh, well, I know you guys don't want to swim and whatever. I was like, we're on the water. Like, we're supposed to get wet. Yeah. Like, it's a beach shoot. Like, we're going to get wet. And he's like, it's fine. And then I think we were there for like an hour, and I kept looking, and I'm like, the tide's going out.
Yeah. And then the boat was like on the island.
And then the boat got stuck, and we were getting eaten alive by mosquitoes that were in the mangroves. It was a whole traumatic event. And then
it gets worse.
Yeah. It gets worse. So they were like, oh my gosh, the boat is stuck. And this guy, who's supposedly the captain, is like, oh, I'll just reverse the boat. And he throws the engine in full reverse. And we're watching all of this sand get sucked into the engine.
It was like, was there smoke coming out?
It was insane. It was crazy. And then I was like, and then he was like, we're going to have to start digging. And I'm like, what do you mean we're digging? And the guy's like, we have to get the boat in the water. Like, you have to push the sand from the boat. So here's me, you, and Emily, all these little tiny models, and like the captain and like one other person, the photographer, pushing sand from the boat.
I was not doing any of that.
You were definitely just like, that's a no from me.
Yeah. Like, no. Like, that looks like a you problem.
And the only thing I could think was, I'm not getting eaten alive all night by this mosquito waiting for the tide to come back in, because it's hours.
Yeah.
So we finally got out, like, and then while we're going back, all of a sudden
we smell fire.
We are on this boat, and it's just like, I think it was like 5 or 6 of us, and all of a sudden we smell fire, and I remember we looked at each other and we're like, do you smell that?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden we look back, and there's smoke coming from within the cabin of the boat. And me, you, and Emily all kind of looked at each other, and Emily was going off on the captain, and I was just there like, I'm looking across.
You weren't going off. You were actually pretty polite. Emily was the one that was like, you need to do this, because is she a captain?
I think she went to get
her
captain's license.
She has a lot of like boat experience.
Yeah.
Like,
she could have driven that boat better than him, like hands down.
And they didn't take her seriously because she was a hot girl.
Yes,
literally.
That is the worst thing
right
ever.
The whole time.
I know so many girls that have that happen to them, where they're just like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm just like, just because she's pretty doesn't mean that she's not experienced. Like, and that's not just in the boating industry.
Story of my entire life.
All industries. And I do think that we are making way and progress, but it definitely still happens. And you can see it all the time, like a day-to-day basis, where you see a woman not be taken seriously just because of the way she looks or the way she acts or whatever.
Yeah.
But hey, so he didn't want to take her advice when it happened. He didn't take her advice when the boat caught on fire.
He was still going.
And we were just there, and I kept looking over at the mainland, and I was like, is it too far to swim?
Yeah. And like it was too far to swim.
It was too far. It was easily like a half mile to a mile.
And like
swim.
the boat was not gonna.
And the boat, and there was a current, and I was like, And I think that they made a call, and I think 30 minutes later,
someone came.
They brought the dinghy. They brought the dinghy, and they were like, we can only take 3 people at a time. And we were like, we'll see you later, bye. So we jumped on the boat, and we went back to the yacht, and we were like, don't ever send us on that boat again. Like,
I think I was done with boats after that.
I can't say the same. I love boats, but I was just like, no, I'm gonna like ask for your captain's license. Like, I need to know that you've driven a boat before, because when he threw it in reverse and I saw all that sand, I was like, we're never gonna make it back to the boat.
It was so bad.
It was so funny. It's funny now. It was definitely traumatic back then. Like, back then I was like, oh my gosh, we're in a third world country. Like, we are.
Okay, but we were at the SLS.
We were at the SLS in the Bahamas. I will give you that. But we're in a different country by ourselves. Well, like each of us individually are by ourselves.
Yeah.
Stuck on a boat.
Like strangers we just met.
With strangers we just met. And I didn't have signal on my phone.
I don't think I did either, because that was back in the day.
When you had to pay for the internet, you had like, it was like 10 cents per like gigabyte or something like that, or like whatever it is that you were using. And we were international, so it was like an international call, which was a lot of money back then, which was terrible. But
there wasn't even signal.
Literally. And
dude, so the worst part is that I didn't even get good pictures on that island. I never posted anything. Like, it sucked.
I got one photo.
Was it good?
It was the one that Emily took of me with her iPhone.
Oh my god!
It wasn't even from the photographer.
Mine were so bad. I was like, this wasn't even worth it.
It was definitely a story. But yeah, so that's how we met, to say the least. But from that moment on, I feel like it was just like the beginning of a very good friendship. And I mean, we've always kept in touch. And then I think the next time we kind of like actually met up in person was for Vizcaya.
Yeah, maybe. I guess so.
I think so.
I love how like this trip like led to so much, and I love that back in the day it was like the influencer wild west, right? Like anything went. Like you just DM someone, let's go on a trip. Okay, like it
literally
was so
it was
cool.
kind of like you threw yourself out there, and if it happened, it happened. And I'm very fortunate that it happened for me, and so are you.
Yeah.
And it was a completely different time than now. Like the whole influencer era was different. And
now it's
8 to 10 years
corporate.
It is extremely corporate, and they are so like on top of like what you can and can't post, what you can and can't say, you know, who you can tag, how you can tag, you know, the music you can use.
It's crazy.
It's insane. They have just like jot down so much and made it so difficult. Like they say that they're giving all these opportunities to be a creator, and I do agree that they have opened up a lot of opportunities,
but to only specific
types of creators.
And I feel like I'm left out of that box because I feel like my content, I don't want to say is like unrelatable, I want to say it's aspirational, but it's just they don't like it.
No, they don't.
You know, they want people with no makeup. They want people that are just like real and like relatable. And there's a whole market for that. And I feel like my content's just different.
Yeah, I mean, I say the same thing. Like I used to post bikini pictures back then, whether they were sexy or normal or just like very regular, like on the beach.
Yeah.
But now it's become so regulated. Like if I have on a bikini that's too small and too much of my cheek is out, then Instagram's like, nope, we don't like it. Take it down.
But that's so crazy because like you see the fashion bloggers on their reels and they start in their underwear and they're like, tee get ready with me. Like they're
literally wearing like a string, and I'm like, so this is cool,
but a bikini,
but
in
my
an
bikini
location is not.
Exactly. And it's the craziest thing. I will say that it gets difficult sometimes because I feel like Instagram's report system is very like, oh, like we'll just wait if somebody reports something, and then they don't. I personally don't believe that Instagram actually looks at it until like you appeal it, because there's so much stuff that gets reported that I'm like, how?
Oh, can I tell you a funny one?
Yes, of course.
I was at the Grand Mosque in Abu Dhabi. It's a mosque, so you have to cover up. Yeah. I got like a special, like, you know, hijab, like cover up everything. Wore it, took an amazing photo.
So you're completely covered.
Completely covered. Hair is covered. Okay, guess what? It got reported.
For what?
They said it's adult content. I cannot make this up. And I'm like, is it the lip filler? Like, what are you detecting here?
What?
Yeah, and I appealed it and they still denied it. So I'm like, does Instagram just like hate me?
I don't even. I'm like speechless.
That's
I don't
just like my what?
I almost feel like that's like a cultural. I don't want to say like prejudice, but like you were trying to show yourself in another culture, being a part of what they do, being covered, wearing what they're wearing, and like respecting their religion, and everything like that. And Instagram was like, no, I don't like it.
Yeah.
And there's no explanation either.
Content. That's where I was like, what? You know, if it was like anything else, fine. I would understand a little bit more, but how is that adult content?
I don't think that's appropriate. And I don't think that Instagram should just be able to let people just randomly report your stuff either. Like, it's like, oh, because you know, like when you report something, because we've had people pretend to be us. On social media, and you have to tell all your followers like, hey, please don't give this person money, like it's not me.
Yeah, but then when they report those accounts, they never get taken down.
I have like 6 accounts that are pretending to be me. There's like a Stacy and something, and I'm like, who's Stacy? Like drunk me or like no, that's Samantha.
Oh my god.
So when I see it, I'm like, so Stacy doesn't get reported, but I get reported and nothing happens.
It's so weird.
And it's the craziest thing. And so when people do the reports and whatever, you're supposed to like, okay, I reported this person and now you block them, right? So that's it. So they don't bother you anymore. I feel like it should work both ways. I feel like if somebody has like reported your stuff, they should be blocked from your account. Like, okay, you reported my thing, you don't like it, I get it.
Exactly.
But obviously you as an individual feel some type of way.
Like they're a hater. So
they're a hater. And some of the, like, I will say there's some stuff on Instagram that doesn't belong on Instagram. Just personal opinion, like leave it for something else or leave it for your exclusive content or whatever the case may be. Just because there are kids on Instagram. But like, if it's a girl in a bikini, if it's a girl showing off like a Valentine's Day post and she's wearing lingerie but she's covered, it is what it is.
Exactly.
Like, it's the same thing that you would see in a magazine, but it's on social media.
Yeah.
I think that if you report somebody, that you should no longer be able to have access to their account, period.
Because you obviously don't want to see it.
You obviously feel some type of way about either them or their content. Why should you be able to go back again to report them? Because at that point, I think it's just harassment.
100%.
It's just like, bullying. But there's no way for us to not get back, but there's no way for us to have any retribution from the bully.
Who they are.
And Instagram doesn't tell you who it is either. You always have an idea, but at the same time, you're like,
But
what am I supposed to do?
Like with our following, it literally could be anybody.
It literally could. It could have been the girl that you bumped into at a bar and she happened to find your photo and she's like, oh, she bumped into me. Yeah. Block. Or like report.
Yeah.
Or anything like that.
Or like they on the explore page. Like,
or just a bitter person. Just like somebody that's just like, ugh, models. Ugh, influencers. Because you know there's always a Karen out there.
Always. Oh
and they're the ones that like leave the worst comments and like the meanest stuff on your social media.
No, but you know what? Okay, so I saw this TikTok or reel, one of those, and this girl, she's a huge influencer with tons of engagement, and she was like, things I did to grow my Instagram.
Yeah.
Number one was she would make a fake profile and comment her first hate comment on her own picture to start an argument
to
so
get
that
people to
they
engage
all
with
come
her
back,
photos.
they read the comments, they type comments, and it boosts her engagement. I'm like, this is brilliant.
That's ingenious. that's horrible,
smart.
but that's ingenious. That's crazy. But yeah, like I feel like there's no protection for the creator. You know what I mean? Like we just leave ourselves open and exposed to bullying, harassment, anything of the sort, inappropriate comments to say the least, because as females, there are a lot of men. And
what's the craziest comment you've ever gotten?
I get some really wild ones. So I honestly don't think I could pinpoint exactly one. I have a lot of people ask me for feet pics, which is like I
don't understand that.
I mean, to each their own. I'm not going to knock your fetish. I'm not going to knock what, gets you going. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't like touching my own feet. So I definitely don't want anything to do with anyone else's. Like, I don't know what you stepped in.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know what that is. And then of course I've gotten quite a few images that I didn't want in my DMs.
Oh my gosh.
Don't.
Yeah.
So yeah. And they give you a very great visual of it all. So it's like, okay, block, please don't create a new profile, don't follow me, don't, just go away.
Oh my gosh. Do you know what I do with them? I send them to my gay best friends and they love it.
Stop.
Yeah, they'll always kind of like, look at it, they're like, okay, like that's nice, it's not, but like, just so you know, that's where they're going.
I've had so many friends tell me, they're like, you should just send one back.
Oh my god.
Like not like of me obviously, but like respond with someone, like another guy's whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, but then I don't want to engage with them because that's what they want. True. What they want is like for someone to acknowledge them, which I do believe people deserve acknowledgement, but that's not the way to do it.
That's not the way to do it.
Definitely not.
No.
Yeah, like that's kind of like when you're at a bar and a guy does something really dumb to get your attention. I'm like, no, it wasn't cute. I don't. You can go away. But yeah. So Instagram has just completely changed from back then to now, and I feel like people are moving more to like TikTok, or I think the new thing is Threads. Which I haven't really gotten into Threads. Threads reminds me of Twitter, and Twitter's just like full of drama, and I have enough going on as an adult to have to worry about all the drama that's happening online. I'm just like, nope, I'm out. Thank you.
I like Threads though, because sometimes it shows up on my like explore page, like Threads will, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
cool topic, and then I kind of like go down this rabbit hole, and it's really interesting.
So I will say that there is some stuff that I've seen where people bring up certain topics, especially like what we're talking about here, or like business ideas and stuff like that, and I think it's a really great tool for that. But I don't like when people turn it into like she said this and he said that and this drama here and this celebrity that, and I'm like, that's like
that's for Twitter or X or whatever they call it now. Like that's
I don't even know. I like looked it up the other day and I was like, what is? I like went on my app, like my phone, to look up the app, and I was like Twitter, and it was like X, and I'm like, I was like, what is X?
It's dying.
And then it is dying.
But anyways, I want to talk about Miss Vizcaya Swimwear, because I feel like that's where we really bonded.
It was.
And you joined last minute, right?
I think it was literally like a couple weeks before the...
So you're like the third Miss Vizcaya I've had. So I've had Angel, Sabrina, and you now on this show. And I just learned that all three of you guys were like last minute entries. Yeah. This is not advice. Do not sign up last minute. Like, you want to prepare, but I was kind of like a pattern.
I was going to say, I think I remember seeing the ad, and I messaged you and I was like, oh my God, like, is it too late to enter or whatever? And you were like, I got you, don't worry. Like, just send in the application, do all the fees and etc. And then, just show up. Like, I got you, don't worry. Like, we still have openings. Like, please come. And I was like, okay, awesome. Sounds great. So then when I got there, I walked in and I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's a room full of pageant girls. Like, all of these girls look beautiful. They're so tall and stunning. Like, I have no shot. Like,
really?
But I was super scared. What? I know that sounds crazy, because I've modeled for so long, and I do think of myself as a relatively confident person. But when you walk into a room full of like empowered women that are all like 5'9", absolutely stunning. They know how to talk, they know how to dress, all of that stuff. It can be very intimidating.
Oh yeah.
It's also empowering, but it's very intimidating because I'm like, all of these girls have all been in pageants, they have all done runway,
and they all want the same thing,
and everybody there wants the same thing. But the second that we all like started talking to each other, I was like, wow, this is really like, it feels like a sisterhood. Yeah. Like everybody was so like open to helping each other. Like if you didn't know how to put on a lash, like another girl would do it for you, or she'd help you. If your hair was messed up in the back, or you need an extra curl, or you forgot something at home, like there was a girl right there to help you. And I was like, wow, I've never been in an environment where I felt so like at home with so many girls. Because in Miami there's not a lot of places. I know we're going. I was like, there's not a lot of places where all girls get along. And it was the craziest thing that you had a room full of like 30 girls where everybody got along. Everybody was there for a good time. Even though it was a competition, everybody was still rooting for each other. It was the craziest environment. I felt like I was back playing sports where, like, you know, good sportsmanship, like everybody's there to win.
And like you're all on the same team though.
But you're all on the same team, which is like the women's team, like the empowerment team.
I'm gonna cry.
Don't cry. We don't mess with the makeup here. But no, it was great. It was an awesome experience. And throughout the weekend, it was so much fun. Like we obviously like did our orientation, and then we went to dinner, and that was a super fun night. And then I will say I was exhausted for the photo shoot the following morning. I was like one of the first groups, like at sunrise. Gosh. The photos came out amazing.
It's worth it.
The photos came out amazing. Like highly recommend doing sunrise shoots always in bikinis. The quality and the lighting from the sunrise is incredible. But I was exhausted, and I literally left, and you guys were like, okay, like we're gonna do what was it? Oh, we're gonna do dinner later on. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I was like, it's 7:00 in the morning, I'm gonna go like take a nap because I need to be able to go back out that night. Because then we went to another dinner. I think we went to Mint.
Oh, how fun.
We went to Mint, and then we did dinner there, and then we went to I think it was like a lounge or something afterwards. And then around like 10 or 11 o'clock, I was like, we have rehearsals tomorrow, like I'm gonna go to bed, I'm out, like bye.
The rehearsals are always so fun because everyone's like hungover.
Everyone is hungover, everyone's tired, like girls are like have their little eye patches on underneath, like trying to get ready, because then the show is literally like 4 hours later. It was crazy. But and then the show was super fun. Like we had like the live DJ, and then there was
the runway over the pool.
The runway over the pool.
Week in itself.
I will say it was kind of scary when you guys were like, "Oh, you're gonna be walking on the thing over the pool," and it had rained that morning.
Were you a year where they were still doing heels?
No, I think I was the year after.
Okay, well,
it was so funny because I walked up and I was like, this is wet. I was like, and we're wearing like, you know, like 5-6 inch heels. Yep. And I was like, well, at least if I go in the water, someone needs to get a nice photo. Like that's all I need. Like when I come out, like do like the photo, you do like the, you know, the very sexy, like coming out of the water photo. My makeup's just like drying like going everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
But actually the show went phenomenal. We had the live singer that year.
Yeah.
And it was great. And then when it got down to doing like the top 10 and then top 5.
What was going through your mind?
I honestly
like, were you expecting to win?
No,
really?
Absolutely not. Because I walked in and I was like, oh, like this is a swimsuit competition. Like I've done swimsuit for years. And then you guys were like, okay, like runway. And I'm interview. Yes, the interviews. That's right. That's what was after the photo shoot was the interview. So we had to go from like our wet hair and all the makeup to like run inside, change, possibly shower if you had time, touch up your makeup, and then go into the panel interview, which was also great because I know they're judges, but I didn't feel judged in the room. I felt like the judges were very open and welcoming, and they didn't ask you anything inappropriate. They just kind of wanted to get to know you. Yeah. Which was nice.
And they loved you. Like, I'm pretty sure they like came up to me after and they're like, we love Dominique.
Honestly, it was like the whole experience just felt comfortable, because I know like a lot of girls go into pageants thinking like, oh my gosh, like there's all these girls and they're gonna judge me and they're gonna judge what I'm wearing and what I say and blah blah. But honestly, this experience was something that I think everybody should do at least once. Regardless of if you win, lose, or whatever, it's definitely an experience where you're gonna make friends, where you're gonna get great photos, you're gonna experience like being out there,
and
like,
your career will blow up. Because I know so many girls that competed for Vizcaya that didn't win, but they had the foundation to have their careers take off. Like, they're huge influencers now.
Yeah, and when we were there, we also got to meet some incredible photographers, and from those photographers, they know people, and other people see your photos, and that's kind of the way that I think that both Instagram like and modeling
too. A lot of them went on to like compete at national pageants.
Yes,
like it's like a little tester, you
like
know?
Sabrina did Vizcaya,
and
then she just won Miss
Eco,
Miss Eco Earth or something like that. Yeah.
And then there was Jada from last year, and she made top 5 at Miss Earth USA.
Yes. So honestly, I think everybody that competes in Miss Vizcaya has like a wide door.
Like, you can go anywhere.
Open. You can go any direction. And I've also seen that in pageants as well. Like, just in general, it's just something where you put yourself out there, and you get so much in return, so much exposure and, you know, networking and everything in between. Like, it's honestly an incredible opportunity that I always tell people every year, especially regardless of the fact that I won. I would tell anybody to just go compete just for the weekend of fun. It was awesome. And you and Franz are like the best organizers that I think anybody could ask for.
No, we're not.
I swear, you guys are so like on top of things.
Like, you guys might be like, late, but it'll happen.
you're like, we showed up an hour late, but we're still starting on time. Like, we don't have it together, but you guys have to have it together. No, but you guys do an awesome job every year. It's always such a successful and incredible event between the runway and the lights and the DJ. And honestly, like, the runway doesn't even feel like a runway show. It feels like a party where you're like, I get to stand out here in front of everybody and just show my true self. And it's the most incredible thing in the world.
I want to talk about winning because you won the whole thing. So, like,
I don't know how I didn't
like,
cry hysterically.
You did have like a COVID year.
I did have a COVID year,
but I want to talk
I still had incredible opportunities that year. It was awesome.
That's what led to the Mexico trips, which is now like a big part of
and designing the bikini. Yes. So my year did get kind of cut, which was okay. I still had an incredible opportunity with you guys because right after I won, we did the photo shoot on the beach with my crown and my sash.
It was so hot that day.
It was brutal.
But the pictures were good. You were glowing.
Oz did a phenomenal job.
So good.
Oz, I love Oz. Oz is great. And then you did my hair and makeup, which you normally do for most of the events, which is always on point. Like, you always, like, your makeup is like top tier.
Thank you.
Hands down. Like, I can see why all the girls that you guys do their makeup for always win. I've noticed that, like, 9 times out of 10 they always win.
I only do winners pretty much.
It's a trend. But yeah, so we did that photo shoot, and then I think we did a photo shoot like every month or 2 months after that with all the new bikinis.
Went to Miss Florida
and I did go to Miss Florida. I did, and that was super fun. I think it's so funny. Like, Monique won Florida that year, Miss Florida. Yep, and she was awesome. The girls looked absolutely incredible, especially in the Vizcaya outfits. It was honestly like, I got to do so much that I never thought that I would like get to see or do. And meet people. The networking was incredible. Like, you and Franz are so good at like connecting the right people with the right people. Especially if you want to go into certain industries, regardless of if it's modeling or not. You guys just know people and you're so willing to like open up and like be like, hey, like, this is so and so and they have connections here. I know you're interested in this. Maybe you guys can work something out. And you don't like do it for anybody, but you allow them the opportunity to do it themselves. And that's what I prefer. I would rather like you be like, hey, Dominique, like, this person has this. Like, I don't know if you're interested, but like, here's their contact. They're expecting an email. If you want to shoot out to them, like, do it. And that's the most amazing thing ever.
I love that. I feel like if you're like me, like, I don't like to feel like I owe people anything. So a connection's enough, and then I'll do the rest of the work. You know?
I feel like as long as you have like that foot in the door, like, you as an individual should be able to open it all the way and accept everything that's supposed to come your way.
100%. So tell me about your bikini design.
So my bikini design, it was so funny. Like, you guys were like, yeah, like, you get to design your bikini, and I was like, what? Like, every girl's dream come true. Like, every girl wants to be a designer.
Especially a girl like you. Like, you're a bikini girl.
I love the ocean. Like, the ocean is my thing. So I live my life in a bikini. If I could walk around, I would, but it's too scary out there. But no, I love the bikinis. And so Franz was super awesome with like talking to me and making my idea, you know, come to life. I did at the time, and I still do, love fishing. So that's why if you've seen my bikini, if you look up on the Vizcaya website, it's under Dominique. You'll see that there's like fish netting on the bikinis. So it's like a solid bikini. And then I think it comes in 2 colors. It's the blue. It's like the royal blue or cerulean blue.
Or the brown.
And then it's the blue and then the brown fish netting.
I love the brown one.
I love it. I love it. And I love that I could incorporate that because I've always like considered myself a mermaid. So the idea of like, you know, when you watch like Ariel or you see like pictures of mermaids and stuff like that, they have like stars or starfishes in their hair and like the fishnet and stuff like that.
And you did the shells on the ties.
I did do the shells on
everything.
Ties,
that was like such a perfect touch to like finish the
look.
was
definitely like it was definitely the creation I had in my mind that came to life, and it was the most incredible thing when Franz brought it out to me. I was like,
right. Did you see it for the first time in Tulum? Is that when you modeled it?
I did. It was the first time. Like, Franz had sent me pictures, but when they say that pictures don't do something justice, they don't. They don't. And I got there and we went to Tulum, which was super fun. That's when we did Katie's initiation.
Initiation.
It's like
crowning.
Crowning. I'm like so used to like I'm so used to the corporate way of talking about it. The crowning. Katie's crowning. And we got there and he showed it to me and I was like,
oh my gosh. Like,
it was everything that I had wanted. It was awesome. And honestly, watching my creation come to life and then every queen after, I love that so many girls have such different taste.
I know, like Hailey's is completely different with the chains, and it's like black and leather. Yes. It's the opposite of like what
it's completely different from mine.
It's so beautiful.
And then Katie's was the different colored nude. She wanted to make every girl feel like she could be comfortable in her own color of bikini.
Literally, which is completely different bikinis.
And they were incredible styles. And
you guys do amazing.
I'm really excited to see. And then Sabrina did the one piece, which not a lot of people like one pieces. But honestly, I feel like one pieces are underrated because if you accessorize the right way and you just like you walk in confident, you can literally rock anything. I wore one piece the year I won. I was the only girl that wore one piece the year I won.
Possible, you guys.
You like walked up to me last minute and you're like, we have a design that nobody has, like, do you mind wearing it? And I was like, one piece. But then when I was wearing it, I was like, you know what, you make the bikini doesn't make you make the bikini. So if you feel confident and you walk down the runway in it, that's the way that the bikini's gonna look.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So honestly, I love seeing everyone's creativity and seeing like them put their personality into a bikini. It's the most incredible thing. Honestly,
their personality really does translate.
They're all different. They're all different. I'm really excited to see what Angel does with her bikini.
I know, because her personality is like totally unique too.
It is, and she's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
She is a genuine sweetheart. I was so excited when she won. Like I love all the girls. They're always so fun to watch. But when I saw her win, the genuine like reaction of, oh my gosh, I won. It reminded me of my year where I was like, I didn't think I was gonna win. I didn't even know I was gonna place. So then when I actually won, I was like, wow. And I could see that in her when she won. It's honestly a really great moment to watch.
Oh my gosh.
Again, highly experienced. I highly recommend that anybody and everybody try out for Vizcaya. Like, it's honestly such an incredible experience.
Me too. I recommend it, and I would compete if it wasn't like a conflict of interest.
I think it's a high conflict of interest.
Yes, a little bit.
I don't think it's fair, but I mean, you sometimes come out with us. You come out with us to the restaurants, and then you should definitely shoot with the girls when near. That would be fun.
No,
I would love to watch that.
It's so funny because like I'm so behind the scenes, like before like the actual show, I'm like no makeup and like sweats, and I'm like I look like the social media like
you're
bitch,
also,
and I'm like
you and your team are up at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're there doing hair and makeup for the girls because there's the first round of shoots
late at night.
Yes, and the first round of shooting starts at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and those girls have to be ready, not getting ready, have to be ready. So you guys, I give mad props to hair and makeup artists. Like, you guys are honestly extremely underrated, and you guys deserve all the recognition in the world.
I love you,
dude. Honestly, you guys you guys make girls are already like beautiful and gorgeous, but you guys honestly bring out all of the beauty that they have even more. And I think it's the most incredible thing.
Oh, thank you. At 5 a.m, I'm always like, I look like this, so you can look like this.
I have heard you say that a few times.
Right.
You're like, don't worry about me. I don't want any cameras on me. Like, when I'm ready, like later in the day, then you can bring out the camera. But,
like, I know when it's my time to shine, and I know when it's not my time to shine.
And it's so funny because I'll see like girls, because girls love taking photos with you because you are beautiful. You are this amazing entrepreneur. You are very successful. You are definitely like somebody that I would that I do look up to, and that other girls should look up to. And I know that when girls come in, they're like, oh my God, Lisa, can we take a photo? And you're like, not right now. you're like, when I'm more put together, yes, but
I'll be,
this is not
honest. I'll be like, no, like not even a filter can fix this.
You show up in like sweatpants and a sweatshirt and with your hair like up in a bun and up in a hat, and you're like, you didn't see me. Like, this is not Lisa.
It's not. Sorry, it's not. Lisa Opie is like what you see on Instagram.
Lisa Opie's still in bed. This is not her.
So I want to talk about the ring and managing relationships in Miami, because I don't know how you did this. You have to be like the one girl in Miami that had a relationship survive in Miami,
dude.
And the ring,
he did an amazing job, honestly. Like, just to start with the ring, honestly, like, you know, like couples, or it's not all couples, but some couples talk about like, hey, this is what I want, like, this is what I like, this is the shape, this is the color, or whatever the case may be. I sent my fiance like a photo, like, haha, like, this is my dream ring, which to an extent it was, but my dream ring also wasn't a certain size or a certain shape or anything. My dream ring was the ring that was coming from the man of my dreams. That was my dream ring.
Oh my gosh.
So when I sent it to him, I was like, oh, teehee, like, you know, look at this gorgeous rock, blah, blah, blah. And then when he actually did propose and I saw that exact ring,
oh my gosh,
I have a photo somewhere that's like a terrible, ugly cry that no one will ever see.
Like now I have to
he was really great. So he proposed in Hawaii, and I didn't know that I knew that he had set up a photographer for us to take pictures on a black sand beach, but he told me that he went to high school with this person and blah blah blah, and that she was trying to just, you know, expand her portfolio. And so I was like, yeah, like of course, like who wouldn't want professional photos done in Hawaii? And then mid shoot he got down and proposed, and so she has this horrible video of me like
because you had no idea.
I had no idea. And it's so funny because everybody's always like, oh, you had to have known. And I was like, if you would have known the craziness that we were going through, like in the middle of like our relationship, and he has a daughter, so we had just returned our daughter to her mom, and it was like crazy during the summer. His mom had just moved in with us for a little bit, so it was like this crazy like atmosphere. And he was like, I know you would love it, but like this isn't the time, like we have so much going on, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, like
wow, he really tricked you.
Oh, he literally told me the day before, because he took me shopping. He picked out the dress I wore when he proposed. Aww. And he took me shopping, and I was like, oh, this is like a typical you're gonna propose dress. And he like dropped his face and was like, I hope you're not expecting me to propose there. Like dead straight face. What? It was so bad. I like teared up, and he was like, don't cry. He was like, but babe, like we have so much going on right now. Like it's just not the right time. Like I want you to be in the right headspace, and I want to be in the right place, and I love you. Like I'm sorry, and blah blah blah. And not even 48 hours later, this man gets down on one knee, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, there's no way you just pulled one over on me, because I am not easy to pull one over on. Like
no, you're not.
I am very like intuitive, and I figure out a lot of stuff. So props to him for keeping a surprise. Yeah. I will forever feel some type of way about him making me cry the day before we left to Hawaii, but
oh my gosh, what?
But it was honestly awesome. Oh my gosh. As for dating in Miami, oof.
How did you guys meet, and how did it survive?
You're gonna laugh. We met at a hotel bar.
Okay.
So I was in a wedding, and after the wedding we had gotten ready at the hotel, and when we were at the hotel, or me, not we, because I didn't know him yet. When I was at the hotel, the wedding was over, and when I went down to valet, and the valet was like, oh, it's gonna be like 15-20 minutes, and I was like, okay, I'll just go grab a drink at the bar, whatever. Yeah. So I go to the bar, and he was at the bar, and he was on his phone. He looked all mad and stuff like that, and you're gonna laugh, I hit on him 5 times.
Dominique.
I don't know why. I don't know. And the funniest part is I was in a robe. Oh, you know, like those bridesmaids robes, yeah, like a little pink silky ones. Yeah. I was literally wearing that, full face of makeup, hair done, wearing flip-flops and this pink robe. I was wearing like clothes underneath, but like that's so what I walked up to.
Wait, I had no idea that's how you guys met.
It was after the wedding, and so I took off the bridesmaid's dress, and I went downstairs in like this pink robe with like a sports bra and shorts underneath. Oh my gosh. And I was like, because I was expecting to just get into my car, and I was like, oh, I'll just go to the bar, whatever. Wow. And I'm there, and I hit on him like 5 times, and he just kept ignoring me. What? And I was like, all right, whatever. Like he's not interested. It is what it is. You want to know why he looked at me? Because my card got declined at the bar. And the bartender turned around and came back to me and was like, your card was declined, loud enough for the whole room to hear. And I turned bright pink, and I looked at her and I was like, I know there's funds on the account. Can you please try it again? She's like, no, it was declined. And I was like,
that's like my worst nightmare. And in front of like a guy that you just got.
Yes, exactly. I'm like sitting there in like utter horror, and I was like, whatever. And I literally like pulled a 20. I pulled a 20 out of my purse, and I was like, here. She's like, do you want change? I'm like, honestly, just go away. Like, just go away. Because normally they're more discreet about it, but she was not. And then it was funny. I was like sitting there like sipping on my drink, and he finally leans over and he was like, you know, it's not your card, right? The machine's broken. And I looked him dead in the face, and I was like, what? He was like, people's cards have been getting declined all night. It's not you guys. It's the machine. It's not going through to the internet. And I looked at him, and I was like, and you couldn't tell me that when I was going through this whole fiasco. And he started laughing. He was like, I wanted to see how you were going to handle it. That's how we started talking.
Oh my god.
Like, it was the craziest thing.
Like, thank God your card got declined.
Yes, I agree. I think it was God's way of going, hey, I'm gonna get his attention. Hold on.
I know. God was like, James.
literally. But it was so funny. And then it was crazy. Like, it was like midnight, and we ended up spending the next 3 hours literally just talking at a table, just like talking back and forth about where we were in our lives, like what was going on and all that stuff. And I was just like, wow, like I've never met somebody that was so like down to earth and like willing to open up, especially to a stranger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he actually lived in New Jersey at the time. And I was like, he was like, well, I'm going back to New Jersey, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I should probably head home. It's like 3:00 in the morning. So I literally got into my car and I left. And I was like, oh, I'm never going to hear from this guy ever again, whatever. And then he texted me the next day. And I was like, oh. I was like, he's actually interested. And then that's kind of how we started. And it's honestly been an absolutely incredible journey. And looking back, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change anything that's happened in our relationship. I knew from the second that we hung out, like we actually spent like a longer significant amount of time, because we would fly back and forth to see each other at that time.
Wow.
And I knew the second that I spent time with him, I was like, I want to spend the rest of my life with this guy. Oh my God. It was one of those moments where I felt like I'd known him my entire life. Like anything I said to him, he just understood me. There was no misunderstanding. There was no judgment. There was no nothing. And I just felt like he was my person. And I had never felt that way. I'd been in a handful of relationships before that, and I never felt that way. And the second that we started talking, it was like an instant click. And all those times that they're like, when you know, I knew. I finally knew what they meant.
Yeah.
So
it's a real thing.
So it's a real thing. And now I get to marry the love of my life in about a year, a little bit more than a year. So we're getting married February 23rd, 2025 in Cabo.
Oh my gosh. Okay, great. Now everybody knows where to find you.
Come find us, come party, have fun.
Crash the wedding.
It's going to be a blast. You guys should come. Well, you're invited, but...
Yeah, how's the wedding planning? Because I feel like when I first got engaged, I was like, this is really stressful because everyone's like, when's the wedding? And they had these really high expectations from you.
Oh my gosh.
And like, you're doing it for everybody else and not for yourself.
So I will say that planning a wedding is not for the faint of heart. Like, there are so many expectations from yourself, your family, your significant other, your friends, because everybody wants to come to a wedding, right? Mm-hmm. Like even the random person that you met in a bar or the bathroom or your local Publix wants to go, and you're like, every single person that I have to feed is like money. Mm-hmm. And I would love to be like buku dollars rich and just pay for like 1,000-person wedding, but I'm not. Yeah. And I also only want people that genuinely mean something to me in my life. And so my fiance and I did agree to have a smaller wedding, because I was like, as much as I would love to have all of my friends there, mm-hmm. like I want the wedding to be about us, not them. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people get wrapped up in trying to make everybody else happy in their wedding.
And that's when like you don't have a good time.
And that's when you don't have a good time. Yeah. And I asked for advice on social media, and everybody that gave me the advice on the planning the wedding was like, take your time and enjoy it for you. This is only going to happen once, hopefully. Mm-hmm. This is only going to happen once. It's the day for you and your fiance. It's about you, your love, your future, your commitment. They were like, make it about what you do not cry. You look like you're tearing up. Like, oh my gosh. I was like, do not cry.
I'm taking this all in because I'm like, okay, like I need to hear this too, because I went through like so much. Like the reason why I'm not married right now is probably because the wedding planning process was so stressful. And it came from everybody else. I felt attacked, like,
and everybody wants something from you. Yeah. And you're just like, I want to do this on my own. Not like on my own. Like I definitely want my family and my friends to be involved, mm-hmm. but like a lot of people have very different opinions of what they think a wedding should be like, or where it should be, or who should be there and stuff like that. And you do feel very overwhelmed and bombarded, and you're just like, I honestly just want your support. Like, your opinion is great, but I'm not looking for you to judge me.
Exactly.
Or tell me what to do.
It's not Miss Vizcaya Swimwear. We want to impress you there, okay? No. But a wedding is about celebrating love.
Exactly. And I feel like all these people have this, like, huge expectation of what it's supposed to be. And I'm like, it's supposed to be about me and him. Like, that's it. Like, everything else is just extra. Yeah. And I feel like everything else in between is just like, oh, well, you have to do this, and you have to do that, and you have to invite this person. And I'm like, I don't have to do any of that. And the hardest part is like telling people no. Mm-hmm. And especially the people closest to you. Because you're like, I have to tell my mom, like, I don't want to invite those people. Like, those are your friends. Yeah. I know they've known me my whole life, but they don't have any quote unquote significance in my life. Like, they have significance in your life. They were at your wedding. I don't think they need to be in mine.
Wow.
Or like when it comes down to like who your bridesmaids are, or like what order they're in. And girls feel some type of way about like if they asked you, or which bridesmaid you are, like how close you're standing to them.
Wow.
And I'm like, like, and the craziest thing that I feel that weddings do is it makes you open up your eyes as to who really matters in your life. Oh, yeah. And I know that's a very cliche thing to say, but there are a ton of people that when it comes down to, when was the last time I spoke to this person? Mm-hmm. When was the last time this person reached out to me? Mm-hmm. When was the last time we had a meaningful conversation? When was the last time I needed something and that person was there for me? Yeah. And you think it's a joke, but then when you go back into it and you look at those moments with those people, you're like, it's been 1.5 years since I've spoken to this person. It's been 8 months since they asked me how I was doing.
I feel attacked. But it's different, okay.
But no. Like when we
talk to you every 8 months, but it's like time didn't pass.
I think ours has gotten better over the years. Like since Vizcaya, ours has definitely gotten better. I went from seeing you like once a year to maybe like 6 to 8 times a year.
And like now Franz and James are friends.
Yeah, now Franz and James are friends.
They figure it out for us, and we show up.
Exactly. I was like, I think that they're the ones that figure it out. We just like show up.
Okay, so to wrap it up, we're gonna do this or that question.
We never talked about dating in Miami. I'll just tell you that it's absolutely terrible.
Like, yeah, basically don't do it. And actually, one quick like word of advice on like how to survive: don't do it.
I was like, don't do it. What I will say is the grass is not always greener. Like a lot of people in Miami always think that there's better looking, richer, nicer, whatever out there. If you have a good thing, hold on to it and work on your relationship, because no matter how long you've been together, relationships take work. And I feel like a lot of people think like, oh, their relationship's easy, or this person's financially stable, or this, that, and the other. And you will find that dating in Miami is disgusting. Like people are out to get you. People are out to get at your relationship and all that stuff. If you have a good person, hold them down and make it work, because there is very few people out there that are willing to commit, stand by your side, and hold the same values as you. So when you find that person, hold on to them, because the grass is not greener.
Wow.
Like, I promise you, the grass is not greener. Like, it is not.
Like, how do you know?
I've been in tons of relationships where, not like tons, but like I've been in tons of relationships where I was like, oh, like I like where I am and stuff like that. And I won't say that I was looking elsewhere, because I wasn't. I was happily in my relationship, and I got to the point where I was like, this relationship isn't for me. Like, not that there's other out there, but I was like, I just don't feel the way like that click I was talking about. I didn't feel that click. Yeah. And everybody talks about that click. So the relationship would end, and then I see other people that they're in a perfectly good relationship. Their boyfriend or girlfriend is amazing to them and da-da-da, but they're like, oh, well, I want this and I want this. And they're looking at the outside factors. They're looking over the fence. They're looking at, oh, well, this guy DM'd me and he's got money, or this girl's got a bigger butt, or whatever the case may be. And you take that moment and you take that 1 hour or that one simple pleasure and you ruin a relationship. And 9 out of 10 times, everybody that I know has done it is like, I regret not making my relationship work the way I should have.
And like, you just hit the nail on the head, because I feel like that's how Miami is.
It's terrible. Everybody always thinks that there's bigger and better, and no, to an extent there is. Yeah. But it's about what you want in a relationship, and you will not always find bigger and better that's meant for you.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Uh-oh, this or that. Uh-oh.
No, it's gonna be fun. Okay, so we forgot to talk about how you are from Antigua, which I still don't believe you. I'm just kidding.
So people always laugh because obviously my name is Dominique. It's not a very common, like, quote unquote white girl name. But my parents were born and raised in Jamaica, and my grandparents lived in Jamaica for years before, like decades upon decades. That's so both crazy. My parents were born and raised there. They were there until they were about 35, and then my dad was a pilot. He transferred to Antigua. That's where I was born. And then when my parents decided to split, my dad moved to Barbados, and then my mom moved to the States with my grandparents after they had moved here. So I'd gone back and forth between here and Barbados, where my dad lives, for most of my life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So but no, the first this or that question is Miami or Antigua?
Oh, any island. Literally any island. Like, I am 100% an island girl. Like, I will live. Oh my gosh. I love nice stuff, but I would 100% live under a tiki hut. Like, throw me in the ocean and leave me there.
Let's
like,
go sell bikinis and coconuts.
Literally, just call me Moana. It's fine. Yeah. Take me to the ocean.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah, no, 100%. I love Miami for its culture and its food, but the people are definitely like different. Oh, they're unique. We'll leave it there.
We could talk. That's a whole nother episode. Steak or sushi?
Oh man, that depends, because like 9 times out of 10 I would probably say sushi, but I do love a really good steak. Like I could eat steak probably once a week every week. I could eat sushi like 2 or 3 times a week every week. But it's really hard for me to go back and forth. It depends on the crave. If it's leg day, steak.
Love that.
Need the gains
for the butt.
For the booty.
Volleyball or line dancing?
Oh, you know what? I played volleyball for 11 years, including 1 year in college, and that was an amazing part of my life. Another thing that I did that opened up so many opportunities for me, but I feel like it's far behind me. Like, I feel like if I went back out on the court right now, I'd break something. So I definitely think like line now dancing. I would go line dancing.
You'd have more fun.
I'd have more fun line
dancing. Beach or mountains? I know the answer for this one.
Beach. Like, beach all day. Like, sandy. Call me Sandy Cheeks. Like,
oh my gosh, I'm mountains. I'm like, how can we be friends?
Well, because opposites attract.
Okay. Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the last question. Ooh. So, would you rather take a boat to the Bahamas or fly to the Bahamas?
Fly.
Yeah. After fly. Our boat story in the Bahamas.
Don't get me wrong, I love boating for like inshore boating and even like a little bit offshore. Like I love going fishing and stuff, but like that cross, like once you hit international waters, like the waves are different. And like you go from being like, oh yeah, you know, 2 to 4 foot seas to like 18-foot waves, and you're like holding on for dear life and
even
hoping
to
that
the Bahamas.
Even to the Bahamas, if you've ever met somebody that's like taken their boat to like Bimini or the Bahamas, they always leave super early in the morning because 9 times out of 10 the waves are like really calm and stuff like that. And the second that the sun starts coming up and you go into the midday, that's when the current comes in and then the waves start getting worse. If there's a storm on the way or the storm's off or whatever the case may be, it gets really bad. So it's hit or miss. And don't get me wrong, like it's not a bad ride, but I mean, it also depends on what boat you're on. Like if you take a cruise ship, it's fine. But if you're on like a 22-foot something or the other, like you're definitely gonna feel all of the waves. And it's not like a 1 hour boat ride either. Like to Bimini, I think on
it's
a
like
flat day,
2.5 or something.
on a flat day, I think it's like an hour and a half. But if you're going to, the actual Bahamas, it's like a few hours. Yeah. Like I did one boat trip on, I think it was like a 30-foot center console boat from South Andros to the Key West. And it was like 8 hours of nonstop hitting waves, nonstop. And I was like, I could never do this again. Like I could never do it again. It was really rough. It's not for everybody.
Wait, so okay, now I want to ask, private jet or yacht?
Oh, that's hard. So I've only ever been on a private flight once, and it wasn't like a jet. It was just like it was like a small like owners
But did you still love it?
It was great. I love that there was like nobody bothering me. There was no baby screaming in my ear. Yeah. Like it was awesome. But it's different because when you go on a yacht, like you get to be on the ocean. It's like being in a hotel.
Exactly.
On the water.
Like you're there, you're having fun, you've arrived.
So they're two very different experiences. I think it would depend on the company I'm with. Because I feel like if you're on a yacht and you're with like your closest friends, it's just another memory. But if you're on a jet, you're like, all right, everybody's on the jet. We're there for like 30, 40 minutes and then we land and then we have to check in and then all of that stuff. Yeah. So I feel like on the yacht, it's just another experience on a trip.
Just a random question that popped up.
100%.
So, okay, where can we follow you on social media? Keep up with all your wedding planning and maybe pageants?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It could be in the future. Who knows? Now that they opened up the age restriction.
Yeah.
You guys can follow me on Instagram. It's Dominique_SHIM. So DOMINIQUE_SHIM.
Perfect.
Easiest way to follow me.
Love it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. It's always nice seeing you, and I'm so excited that I got to do this with you.
Yeah, we caught up.
We did catch up.